Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. It is a gas having you here on the show today, here on YouTube and here on Rumble and here on Spotify and all of the iHeart and all the usual suspects. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys that are listening on Spreaker and Spotify and the like and iHeart. Those numbers are through the roof. We really appreciate it. So if you are if you're watching and you just don't feel like you have time to watch and you'd rather listen, Spotify, Morning Report on Spotify, Amazon Music, Morning Report on Amazon Music, Fightback Media, Willie Lawson. Check it out. We appreciate it. All right. Or you can just subscribe here. Hit that subscribe button down there in the corner. You feel me? Hit that thing. Hit the notification bell if you want to. Okay, I know nobody hits the notification bell. I know, but hit the subscribe thing anyway. That will be very cool. We just went through this Hurricane Helene, and huge storm. A lot of people are still in a bad way. We are blessed here where we are. It's beautiful out. It doesn't quite look like this, but right now, but doggone close, right? Except that we are inside and the AC is running because the power is on, and there are people who have been without power the entire time for more than a week now, and there isn't any estimated time of delivery for their electricity, and there are people not far from here, not far from where we're sitting now, who've lost everything, and because of flooding. One of my dear friends that I met through the Republican Party, super lady, grandma, just one of those grandmas that I wish I had a grandma like that. They pretty much have a 50-foot or 50-yard dumpster in their front yard to throw all their stuff away. Terry, we love you. You know what I'm saying? 3 months ago, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who needs to lose his job, said that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, we talk about them all the time, was tremendously unprepared for the hurricane season. This is what we do. This is what they do. 3 months ago, we're solid. We are solid. Now, in the wake of Hurricane Helene, now, what people are going to say was, well, we could have never expected this. Well, you know what? When you say that you are tremendously prepared for hurricane season, what, you don't know? Are you telling me that they didn't know that sometimes, because I lived in Florida pretty much my entire life, since I was like 8 years old, I'm 7 years old, I'm like 64 now, that some of these storms are going to be kick-ass storms that cause a lot of damage. I've lived through every major hurricane in the past 50 years here in Florida, and lived most of them not far from where I'm sitting now. That's crazy, right? So I've seen a lot of storms. So they're at the Department of Homeland Security don't have any reference to how bad they can get. So Alejandro Mayorkas stands up and goes, "Oh, we are tremendously prepared. It's what we do." Now, Mayorkas is complaining that FEMA is cash-strapped after the Disaster Response Bureau spent over $1 billion on a legal immigrant assistance program. Now, we heard that a while ago that they transferred some of their money, like $1 billion, to the illegal immigrant assistance program. Now we don't have money for what they need it for. Mayorkas told reporters on Wednesday that FEMA does not have enough funds to make it through hurricane season after Hurricane Helene wreaked havoc across the southeastern United States, claiming more than 200 lives, and as another storm looms possibly. This doesn't take a rocket science to figure out where FEMA's money went, does it? So late in 2022, the Biden-Harris administration has spent FEMA money on housing, travel, and care of illegal immigrants released from federal custody and awaiting immigration court proceedings, according to the agency's website. This is not something that Willie is making up. It's according to their own website. This fiscal year alone, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security pledged $640.9 million in tax dollars towards such humanitarian, in air quotes for those of you who are listening, services assisting illegal aliens. And the year before that, DHS doled out $363.8 million. $1 billion. 2 years, $1 billion. Now, after one major storm, we don't have enough money. Greg Abbott from Texas tweeted, "This is easy. Mayorkas and FEMA immediately stop spending money on illegal immigration resettlement and redirect those funds to areas hit by the hurricane." Doesn't seem hard, right? So meanwhile, while Americans hit by Hurricane Helene in Western North Carolina are still without water, food, or cell service, however, the Biden administration is pushing back against the allegation, saying that the alien resettlement funding provided through the Shelter Services Programs, the SSP, is congressionally appropriated. Like somehow, this money is coming from somewhere different, specifically allocated for that purpose and completely separate from disaster relief funds. If that's the case, then how come Mayorkas stands up and says, "Hey, we are solid, we are good to go"? Why? Because these claims are completely false. A DHS spokesperson told Fox News Digital SSP is a complete separate appropriated grant program that was authorized and funded by Congress and is not associated in any way with FEMA's disaster-related authorities or funding streams. The White House spokesperson, Angelo Hernandez. I know how Spanish people have their names because they have their mom's maiden name embedded in their name. So we have like 14 names. So Angelo Hernandez also called the claim that FEMA money has been spent on services for illegal immigrants instead of disaster relief false. Okay. Fair and balanced, I'm giving. The last, but here's what Angelo Hernandez says: the disaster relief fund is specifically appropriated by Congress to prepare for, respond to, recover from, and mitigate impact of natural disasters, and is completely separate from other grant programs administered by FEMA for DHS. But according to a congressional report, FEMA runs SSP in partnership with the U.S. Customs and Borders Protection to help curb the overcrowding of short-term Customs Border Patrol holding facilities. So according to the congressional record, FEMA, who says that SSP is separate, actually runs SSP in partnership with Border Patrol. That happens to be the truth, but the truth is buried, so they never expect that you'll find out. But you just found out from me if you didn't find out from anybody else. The program financially supports state and local governments dealing with the influx of illegal immigrants flooding border towns and cities in the interior like New York, a so-called sanctuary city, where the city's budgetary management officer just received more than $38 million from the FEMA administered program. So FEMA administers this program, right? 38 million of your dollars. Now, although the funds are supposedly insufficient in the long term, FEMA's director of public affairs, Jacelyn Rothberger, said on X that the agency has the necessary resources for immediate response and recovery in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. However, Rothenberg added, "We need to keep a close eye on the funding situation amid storm season, which lasts through the end of November." And If you live where I live, you know that, right? Citing FEMA Administrator Diane Criswell, said that the FEMA head has a full authority to spend against the president's budget. Mayorkas, who's on Air Force One, urged lawmakers Wednesday to send FEMA more money, saying that Congress may need to pass a supplemental spending bill this fall to assist states with recovery efforts. So the thing that they got money for initially to help in these recovery efforts, now they're saying Congress, Mayorkas is saying, Congress, you need to send us more money for these things. But we gave you money, and then you use some of that money to help illegal aliens. So on another CR, which CRs are the devil, we have funds, but there's not a stable of source supply, if you will, Mayorkas said, of the now depleted coffers. This is a multi-billion-dollar, multi-year recovery. Later on, he stressed, we are meeting the moment, but that doesn't speak about the future. And the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, these are extreme weather events that are increasing frequency and severity. We have to be funded for the sake of the American people. But what about the children, right? This is not political. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is. And you're right, it shouldn't be political. Because if this organization, this entity, this governmental entity, was focused on the things that were important that they set out for, you guys know here that I mention original intent all the time. That if they focus on the original intent, you know what? We will be having this conversation. Congress recently provided FEMA with another $20 billion with a B for the agency's disaster relief fund. Both chambers of Congress are currently out of session until mid-November after Election Day, as lawmakers focus on their campaign instead of focusing on their constituency. Lord have mercy. Anyway, President Joe Biden has mentioned possibly bringing Congress back from the election-related recess to pass additional funding. A source on Capitol Hill familiar with the congressional appropriation process told Fox News that the disaster relief fund is not in immediate danger of running out. While we will not know the full cost of Helene until the first 30-day estimate comes, FEMA ended last year with a little less than $2 billion, which carried over. The CR also provided them access in addition to another $20.261 billion. That's roughly $22 billion in total for the fiscal year so far, the source said. FEMA has also since issued a statement responding to the funding concerns and criticism, accusing the agency of diverting much needed funds from disaster relief. And they keep saying that no money is being diverted, but we just learned through the congressional record that FEMA administers the SSP in partnership with Border Patrol. So they keep telling us that's not happening. However, on August 28th, 2024, Homeland Security tweeted this: new today, DHS Gov through FEMA and the Border Patrol announced the allocation of over $380 million through the Shelter and Services Program, SSP. Really? They said so. They said here in this tweet that they announced the allocation through FEMA and the CBP, the Border Patrol, of the $380 million for the Shelter and Services Program. Now, the Shelter and Services Program is not for the people who are struggling in the Carolinas or in Western Tennessee or Georgia or parts of Florida or parts of the Tampa Bay area. That's not what that is. That's for illegal immigrants. That's for flying them around the country, making sure they're healthy, making sure their kids get educated while they're here. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. My friends who watch this show now, the people who watch this program, you guys are the hardcore. You guys are so friggin' hardcore. Because what I'm not doing, and I'm not intending to, and I never have been that person who attends to change people's mind or win people over. I've never been concerned about that because I don't think that works, especially in our 49-49 atmosphere. But it's important that we know. It's important that we know and that we act on the things that we know. There's a lot of things to infight about. There are. But it's important that we know. All right, we got to get out of here, maybe for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself because we will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.